Steve White.
I thank you. I'm sorry I was late. This is the third time I've come here to try to speak about a particular subject, and I brought a couple of notes written down. I may not have time to finish it, so I'll just hand it in when I'm done what I have. I'd like to ask you to consider the issue of the conduct. This is on. Yes, thank you. The conduct of one of your trustees in business dealings in his rental property business in the district. And the details of this issue have been generally known.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, this issue has come up before. I am aware of the correspondence from Mr. White to the board or to yourself. I believe that this is clearly not a subject before this board, other than to, without getting into allegations, make some speech or statement or speechifying regarding a particular board member having nothing to do with any issue before this board or before this district. And additionally, the little bit that I have come to find out about it, I'll say this: I question the speaker's motives, because I think he, unless I'm wrong, he's employed by the agency that somehow got stirred up. But I don't know whether he was involved in any way in that, and that's the reason behind it. But it's clearly not a discussion before this board. And under your present policies, you have the right to rule him out of order, and the policy states that he shall be ruled out of order on a subject which is not before you. So my position remains the same, that this is not proper conduct, this is not proper comment with respect to a school board meeting, Mr. White, is it, can avail himself of some other forum, and he may have already done that. But, you know, that's it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's just wasting this board's time.
So before the board makes a statement on this, given our council's ruling, I'm in the uncomfortable position of not being able to answer how we operate on that policy, and I have to recuse myself and turn this part of the decision over to the vice president.
Well, if I may, I don't care who the school board member is, any one of you, or frankly, any board officer, any administrator, or even your attorney, should not be the subject of non-educational related comments that have nothing to do with the district, that are personal in nature.
Mr. President, I know this has been brought up a couple of times, and since you've turned it over to me, I've nothing more to add to what council is saying. Council has the last word. I highly doubt that any person of any position would go against their council, especially when policy of this district is being cited. So,
Can I ask for a clarification from council?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino, you said the chair may. Didn't say shall, should, or would. You said may.
If the chair rules that these comments are out of order, the chair shall. That's what the policy says.
That's not what you said before.
But it said public comment may be permitted by the board, but if somebody is out of order, it shall be stopped.
Okay. But I don't think, another clarification, I'm not sure in your comments if you actually said this was out of order.
Well, I've said it repeatedly, every time Mr. White gets up to make the same speech.
First thing you said. It's the first thing that he said.
Not in exactly those words.
Well, I'll
Just
say,
for
it.
clarification.
He was out of order previously, he is out of order, and as long as he continues to attempt to make the same personal attacks, he'll continue to be out of order, in my opinion.
Well, I would strongly urge my colleagues, we have,
It's your fault.
the ruling is what council is saying. And at this point, I would strongly urge all my colleagues, left and right. We have difficult decisions to make. We have very important responsibilities that we need to take upon, and time is of the essence. And it's not something that a responsible board should be engaged in and spending the time on. Nothing further but to add. Thank you, Council, and thank you, Mr. President.
You're not going to let me say anything further? That's the question to Mr. Weeder now. You're not going to let me speak any further? That's it?
Not on the same subject that you started last time.
And did you see the letter that I sent to Mr. Rothschild after he asked for me to prepare
Yes.
statements?
Yes, I did see it, and I have a question, which you may or may not want to answer. Who are you employed by?
I'm going to take the mic back for a minute. No, I got to do that. Well, I think it's important to have that question answered. For the purpose of this meeting, the issue is whether Mr. White
Wow.
The purpose of this discussion is what Mr. White has to present to this board, and based upon counsel and Mr. Weeder's comment, it deals with this thing. I'm not sure that we should now get into any surrounding questions or issues, because it's not going to be about education. It's going to be about something else. That's not about your speech, but if we start asking who you work for and you answer and then whatever it goes, it's going to make this meeting get into a pandemonium, and I'm not sure that's what we should be doing. So the ruling was given by Mr. Weeder. I have to respect that. I couldn't, because of negative comments that could come up, I recused myself from that decision. It was made by Mr. Weeder based on counsel, and I'm sorry, Mr. White, but that's the decision that was made.
No, I understand this decision. I just wanted to know if Mr. Weeder and Mr. D'Agostino did see the letter that I sent, and if they saw the response from the Committee on Open Government.
Just for clarification, I did see your letter that you submitted to the President of the Board as well. And I've read it through twice.
And the response from Mr. Freeman of the Committee on Open Government?
Irrelevant, and I'll tell you why. Mr. Freeman is only authorized to...
I just want to know...
No, I saw it. I absolutely saw it.
that's all I-
No, and I'm going to respond to you. Read the matter of Kushner, which is the latest
I'll
case.
add in my comments, and then you'll hear from me later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. Amelia
But
White.
for the record, the Committee on Open Government is an advisory body, and the comments from that body run counter to a recent decision by the Commissioner of Education. There's an article which appears, if Mr. White would like to avail himself of it, in the latest New York State Schools Board periodical called On Board, which relates to it.
Didn't the board president just say he didn't want any more conversation on the subject?
Are you running this meeting, sir? Are you running this meeting, sir? I'm responding to your self-lawyering, that's what I'm doing.